You go to like some professional musician, you're like, hey, we need an intro for this thing. And it's like, oh, what's it called? Zoids? And they're like, Zoids. Zoids.
Zoids. Sick guitar solo.
Yeah. Anyway, it's the second Zoids series, Zoids New Century. Things have gotten less chaotic. I know I told that joke the last time, but I'm telling it again.
And two, also, for those of you who aren't in America, it is also called chaotic. It is also called Zero. Zoid Zero.
Oh, interesting.
Zoid's new century / Zero.
That kind of makes sense. Pull up some images I'm going to use. I know I'm doing this in the middle of the recording, but that's fine. Yes. Zoid's New Century. What is new about this century? Well, I'll tell you. There's no war going on. In the previous Zoids, it was a big fight between the Republic and the Empire, and then some other fights to save the world. There are none of those in this. Stakes are much lower. But the stakes being lower does not mean it is bad. Put that on the back of the box.
It takes place like a fair amount of time after Chaotic Century.
In unknown amount of
where
time, thousands of years or hundreds, maybe. I do not know.
Who knows? But Zoids are no longer used for warfare. Now they are. Zoids are all about battle competitions and tournaments run by the Zoid Battle Commission.
Correct. I wonder if I could find a clip. Zoids New Century.
And the Zoids Battle Commission is kind of like, what if you gave the FIFA team organizers, what if you gave them an army? That's basically what the Zoid Battle Commission is.
Pretty much. So yes, the Zoids Battle Commission is they have a series of satellites around the planet of Z that they drop judges from space in drop capsules into abandoned areas of the world that people can have their Zoid matches in. Live fire Zoid matches, by the way, like with guns and laser beams and missiles.
The way it should be.
The way it should be. Sports weren't for pussies. Yeah, but they have like these. They're not death battles because no one dies. But yeah, they have the Zoids fight in the middle of nowhere for money, tournament money, and these broadcast. I assume using the same satellites to the world in a organized tournament format. And the main character is not initially a competitor in these matches, but he is a scavenger. Oh, his name was BitCloud, by the way.
BitCloud.
What a ridiculous name.
Original name, do not steal.
Yes, BitCloud. He is not initially a competitor. He is a scavenger. So he goes to these matches, sneaks into the battle, and basically
with his invisible tow truck.
Yes. Sneaks into the battle when people are fighting, and basically whenever parts get blown off a Zoid, he sneaks in, nabs them, and leaves. He gets caught through an accident that causes the match to end, and the team that catches him is like, "Oh, you rapscallion, you stealing."
It's called the Blitz team.
The Blitz team. And they are run by a dad, a daughter, and a brother, and two other unrelated people. I mean, unrelated as in like not actually related by blood, but they're just members of the team.
Yeah, run by Steve Toros, his daughter Lena Toros. There's the jobber guy that's a mercenary that works with the two, BitCloud and Lena. Brad Hunter.
Yeah.
He pilots the Command Wolf.
Right. Yes, Brad. with his
And then you have Jamie, who's over there with his fucking loser flying Zoid.
Listen, Jamie gets a little bit better when he becomes schizophrenic, all right? But we'll get into that. Anyway, they capture.
When he has that mental break, yeah, he does
Yeah,
get better.
they have that. Uh, as they take him prisoner. I guess until like, hey, once the fight's over for the rematch of the match that you messed up, we'll let you go, kind of thing, so that you don't mess up the match again. But there's a Zoid that no one on the Blitz team has been able to properly pilot called the LIGO Zero. And the LIGO Zero is pretty cool. We talked about this. I know you say you like the Blade LIGO more, but I just love it's just so cool. Look at him.
I will admit, before at the start of the series, I was like, Liger Zero is kind of meh, but by the end, I'm like, it's on par with the Blade Liger. If not, it kind of ekes out a little bit of an edge.
Right. I think because there is a gimmick to it that we'll get into, but it's it has a person. It's one of those Zoids that's not quite fully under control, not fully lobotomized, if you will. It's got a personality to it still, which we find out why later. But basically, Bit of the Blitz team, Bit is able to actually pilot it. Him and LIGO Zero kind of form a bond very quickly, and being able to pilot it, the yeah, the Blitz team is like, hey, well, we're down a Zoid from the previous fight because it got bodied in the competition, if I remember correctly. And we need another fighter. So, Bits, get in the LIGO Zero. If I remember correctly. Again, this was a bit ago. A bit cloud ago.
If I remember correctly, the reason why they had to switch, he had to step in was because the other guy who was the former leader that just kind of leaves and does whatever. His shield liger got damaged badly, so like you step in, and then Big Cloud wins, and he's like, "Damn, you're pretty cool, Big Cloud. Bye."
Yes, the son
And he just
of
leaves.
the team captain, Professor Toros. And he's like, hey, he's like the older brother, and he's like, hey, I'm not needed here anymore because you got a new pilot, so I'm a dip and do my own thing, whatever that may be. Perhaps he'll show up in the future. So yeah, he dips, and basically Bit takes over. And they continue to do their fights for money and such. And I believe fairly early on we get the LIGO. Is it the Jaeger? Is the blue one? I think
Yes,
so.
the Panzer is the one that comes at the very end.
Yeah, I mean I know the Panzer because it's the coolest one, but yeah.
Yeah, we get the Liger Zero Jaeger first, and then a couple episodes later we get the Liger Zero Schneider.
Yes, but basically the doctor, the professor, the team captain, he's like an engineer slash scientist. Um, he's like, hey, I got a whole new set of parts and upgrades for the LIGO Zero now that you can pilot it, Bit. And the
Oh
first,
hell yeah! Thanks, Professor. That's awesome. I'm gonna take these parts.
yeah,
Sweet, thanks. I'm sure there's no
si-
strings attached to this.
sign the paperwork here.
All right, signed. We now
Transform.
own your soul.
Yes.
Pilot the Liger Zero, or else.
Oh man, I can't find. Whatever. I want people to see my YouTube homepage. It's full of VTubers. Ew. But yeah, so Bit unfortunately signs his soul away to the team manager for these new parts. But to be fair, the parts are cool. The first one is the LIGO Jaeger, which is speed based, and that shows up when they are facing a team with lightning sykes. If I remember correctly, that's when it first takes shows up. They're like, oh, the lightning strikes is so fast. Which, if you remember, the lightning strikes was in Chaotic Century.
And it was piloted by Jack Sisko.
Is that the name of the dude in this?
Yeah, and he's got the two girls that work with him, and they're the Black Tri-Stars.
True, but they don't show up until later. The first match, he was just like some random mercenary for what's his face, Rich Boy.
Yeah, for Harry Champ.
Right. All right. Let's talk about Harry because he's a recurring figure. So, along with the main team, you have a second team, the Champ team, which is led by Harry Champ, who is a rich nepo baby who is in love with Lena, which is the lady on the Blitz team and the daughter of the team captain. Lena, why am I blanking on their last name?
Lena Toros. I'm pretty sure.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, Lena Toros.
Yes, but Harry Champ's like in love with her, and he wants to. The first interactions are basically just him showing up, being like, "Lena, I love you, and you want to fight a Zoid battle so that I can prove myself." And then they fight the Zoid battle, and he gets bodied. Basically every single time, and he has two robots on his team.
And then he's like, he comes back the next time, and he's like, "Aha! Now I've got the monkey. Now I can beat you this time, and to prove my love." And then he gets beaten again.
Yeah, pretty much. He's got two robots instead of friends, two robot servants. So he has his Roombas pilot the other Zoids on his team.
Yes, his two robots named, what was it? It was Benjamin and Sebastian.
Right, Benjamin and Sebastian.
One of which, I believe it's Sebastian, is voiced by the guy who voices Double D in Ed, Edd n Eddy.
Yeah. And once you pointed that out, I'm like, oh yeah, I do hear it.
I just could not unhear that.
And while Harry Champ starts as a, I was going to say an antagonist. He is an antagonist. He's not a villain, really. He's just weird.
An annoyance.
Yeah, he's like the Elon Musk of the Zoid world. But like, never mind.
I was like, okay, where are you going to go with this?
I knew where I was going to go with it. I just don't want to know if I want to say it on the video. But anyway, he's just more of an annoyance than like evil. So he's just kind of shows up, jobs, gets beaten. But he eventually hires a mercenary named Sisko. And
Jack
Sisko, who has the lightning strikes. Which is
and what I love about when he hired Jack Sisko on, he's like, just follow me and I'll take care of everything. Now you guys need to get the tortoise Zoids, load them up with as much cannons as you can, and just sit there. I'll take care of the rest.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's like, just stay out of my way. You hired me for a purpose. Don't. His whole thing is like, you hired me because I'm the best, and I'm going to be the best, and you're just going to get in my way. So just sit in the back.
And let me do the best.
And he gets really pissed off when people get in the way. But yeah, and that's when the first use of the LIGO Jaeger shows up because it is speed based and they have a cool little race of sorts.
Which ends in a draw.
Yes. And luckily Sisko shows up again in the future, but we'll get there. Another team they fight, I forget her name, but
Naomi Flugel with the gun sniper?
Yes. Also, I have been having the intro in the background on occasion, and she shows up in it, and I'm like, interesting. Every once in a while, I don't know if you like notice, if you like watch something from your past, and you're like, oh wow, this did have an effect on me. This did change the way I look at things as an adult. But yeah.
Yeah, as we started the series, I was just like, oh, the gun sniper's so cool. The gun sniper's so great. Oh man, the gun sniper in New Century is so cool. The gun sniper in New Century, the best Zoid ever. And then we get to it, and it's like this older MILF type character that's piloting the gun sniper called the Red Comet. I'm like, I see.
Yeah, her nickname is the Red Comet. It's really funny, and I'm like, interesting. No wonder it's stuck in my memory so much. But I wanted to bring her up because there are two gun snipers that show up in this series. Both of them are very cool, but for different reasons. She, using her red gun sniper, uses it as we never really showed talking about.
It's like a
To
gun
be fair,
sniper.
we never really talked too much about the gun sniper in Chaotic Century.
It never really showed up in Chaotic Century.
It did. They tried to
It
assassinate
did,
the
but not
president.
as like as like a prevalent
Right. It was
thing
like
for like more than one episode.
there was like one or two Monster of the Week uh episode. I wonder if I could get. I'm trying to find a picture of it doing the sniper part of the gun sniper. I can't find it. But anyway, you might not be able to tell from this picture. But oops, gosh, as I try to navigate images, I'm telling you, I should really make like, whatever. But the tail is a big sniper rifle, and it has a cool kind of interior transformation sequence where the chair will flip around to where the pilot's like laying down, and the gun sniper like flattens out, and the tail becomes a sniper rifle. And this
So
Naomi
cool.
Flugel uses it as the gun sniper. You know, she's like an expert sniper, and she has a fight with the Blitz team. She loses because she's not a protagonist yet, but overall, does does the thing, does the gun sniping, and you kind of get this cast of like accessory team, not accessories, like other teams showing up, like recurring ones like Harry Champ, Naomi Flugel, she shows up a lot. The Lion team, I think it's literally just called the Lion team.
The Tigers team.
Tigers team. You know what the Tiger team uses? The name of it? They all have weird names of like Storm Tiger, Saber Tiger, the Saber
I
Tiger.
think that's what it was.
Saber Tiger. It's a tiger. Not as cool as the Shield Liger or the Liger Zero, but it's cool. They show up frequently. They get bodied. They end up. Well, we got to introduce the actual antagonists of the show. The group that shows up as the primary villains, the Backdraft group, which
Think the Draft Kings of sports.
they are kind of the Draft Kings of sports. Their whole thing is, hey, Zoid fighting is pretty cool, but you know what would make it cooler? Less restrictions, more action,
More money.
more action, more danger. And so not only, I think the funniest thing about the Backdraft group is not only do they have their own dark judges, which by the way, yeah, these satellites drop pods with little judge robots in them to judge the matches, as we described. The Backdraft group has the same satellites that are black, and they drop dark judges, and the dark judges are basically the same thing, but evil, and they sound like Starscream.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, Backdraft group shows up, and they're like, hey, we want to have unregulated fights, and the teams are like, we don't want to do that. Why would we do that? And they're like, we'll pay you 10 times the amount of prize money if you beat a new I think it's Ella something Elephander.
The Elephant Zoid.
Yes, the Elephander. And they're like, okay, cool. I guess we will. And so there's like another recurring villain is just the Backdraft group. They show up. They go, hey, let's have an unregulated battle against some sort of thing, some team, some evil goobers, right? And additionally, there is a scientist who is rivals with Professor Toros, who shows up on occasion.
Dr. Leone.
Dr. Leone. Another recurring villain. His whole thing is he shows up. He wants to get back at Dr. Toros for stealing his girl back in the day, which is Lena. I'm so
Yeah,
bad with names.
it's Lena's mom, and he also is like, Lena, you're in the spitting image of your mother. I want to protect you with my life.
Yes. So he's like, I was gonna say he's not really evil. He just does it out of spite, and he's pretty comedic. To be fair, he'll be like show up in his giant flying whale king, and be like, "I got a new gizmo. I want to turn on the Blitz team because fuck them." And you know what? Villains who are just all about spite, I can dig.
Generational haters make like the best villains.
True. And I think that's as we describing the villains, like I think it kind of makes it clear that like the stakes of this show are significantly lower, and I kind of like that. It's not saving the world. Like the big end of the series basically is the Backdraft group takes over the World Cup for that season. That's
They
kind of
don't,
it.
not even the world. They take over the World Cup at the very last minute and are like, oh yeah, we'll check out our DraftKings OC. Do not steal. Look at this.
Wow.
Who also
We'll get into
uh
that. We'll get into
yeah,
Berserker
jumping the gun there.
Berserker Fury, I think is its name.
Berserker Fury. That sounds right.
Berserker. Berserker
Yep,
Fury.
it's the Berserker Fury.
Why isn't it showing up? Berserker Fury, but that's a different thing, right?
It's the same thing.
It looks the same. But yeah, basically the Backdraft group whole thing is like, hey, we got this sick ass Zoid, and we're gonna have unsanctioned battles with it, and you can compete if you want, and we'll put a big dome over the area so you can't leave, though, you know. But the brother who disappears in like the first 2 episodes returns kind of like midway through the series in a red shield liger. And his whole thing, if I remember right, is just he just wants to fight the Backdraft group. Am I misremembering?
He wants to fight the Backdraft group, and he also wants to fight Big Cloud to be like, all right, who's actually the better pilot?
Yeah. She had like a whole arc off screen, which is cool. He's like, yeah, I lost like a ton of battles, but now I found my shield liger.
My original Zoid just got totaled, so I had to leave it in the desert.
Yeah. And he found the new red shield liger, and he ends up teaming up with Naomi, the Red Comet.
And then they become the Red Comet team.
Yeah. But some characters go through some changes on the Blitz team. Not only do we have another form of the Liger Zero to talk about that shows up about midway through, the Liger Zero Schneider, which is pretty cool. To be fair, they're all pretty cool. Like the blue one is like, it goes fast, but like.
But the Liger Zero Panzer is special in that it's not only is it the last thing to be equipped, it's you can't equip this for too long or else it'll burn out the Zoid.
True, and we'll get there. But the Schneider is the one with, it's got a bunch of blades on it, and it can do like a gun buster. It's like something. It was a blade buster special attack or something, where it has all the blades face forward on its face.
I think it's called Buster Claw.
Maybe that would make sense. And Lena's D Bison gets bodied, and she uses another gun sniper, but it is one of my favorite versions of the gun sniper. It doesn't have it. I'll have to find it. I know I saw it on Google Images. Gun sniper, Zoids. There's just something really funny about her gun sniper. Oh, I'm gonna have to send this image to you later. Oh, it's a model. There's a. Oh, but so. Oh.
I'll point out that in her Wikipedia entry, she pilots 2 different Zoids over the course of the series: the Deep Bison and the Gun Sniper, and is regarded as notoriously trigger happy in combat, bordering on psychotic.
So this picture I have right here is her new gun sniper, which is this model is actually carrying a basket of groceries. Peak. Because that is a scene in the show. And as you can tell, it has what they would call an absolute gigaton of weaponry on it.
Heavy Armor's jealous.
There's multiple missile pods, multiple chain guns, lasers, rockets, all kinds of things. Oh, the little basket has ammunition in it too. I just wish this model wasn't so expensive. But anyway, the thing about her gun sniper that really makes me laugh is while Naomi in the red one uses the sniper tail like a lot. That's like her whole thing.
That's a gun sniper. You snipe with a gun.
Yeah, Lena literally never uses that function of her gun sniper, and I find that hilarious. She's just like, I want this, and I put all the guns on it. Just ignore the thing that makes it the gun sniper, and just put guns on it. More gun, less sniper.
And then her infamous weasel attack, where she just literally fires everything at once.
Yeah, it's pretty peak. Brad, who is in his command wolf,
Brad gets it rough. Every time that Liger Zero has to go transform, do the whole like pulling the armor parts out and putting them on, Brad is out there being like, "Don't worry, I'll hold them off while you go do that," and it always cuts back to him being like in a pile.
Yeah, it's such a recurring bit of like, we're fighting the Elephander. It's too strong. Bit, go transform into the Schneider. I'll hold them off. Does like this like minute and a half transformation sequence. It feels like of the LIGO getting all the parts taken off of it, new parts added on inside the big snail that they use as their mobile base, launching out, and then it's just like cuts back and Brad's like on fire and just like balked for whatever this new form of LIGO is to end up saving the day. But he eventually gets recruited by that scientist that has a rivalry with Dr. Toros, who has a new Zoid called the Shadow Fox he wants a pilot for. And Brad takes him up on the offer and is like, oh, has Brad changed teams? No. He just steals it. Which, you know what? Fair.
Based.
And I'm gonna be the Shadow Fox is pretty cool. I like it a lot.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. It's nothing, it's not like amazing, but it is pretty cool. So yeah, basically by the end of the series you get the LIGO's various forms, which they eventually get around to using the LIGO Panzer. Where is it? LIGO Zero Panzer. Which is really funny that when they first use it, the LIGO, the actual Zoid is like, I hate this. It's way too heavy.
It's too heavy. It's too heavy. Get it off.
Yeah. And I think even after firing it, like it gets too heavy, too hot, and like after firing it, they jettison all the parts and it does like a little shake and it's like,
Finally.
But as we mentioned, this all sort of culminates finally in the big Super Bowl sort of event where
Ba-da-bum.
Yeah, it's like a big battle royale where every judge satellite fires off like dozens of judges into this area, and they have a battle royale with the champ team, the tiger team, the red comet team.
All the teams are coming back for this.
Yeah.
It's everyone's coming back together because the winner of this gets to move on to the higher rank.
Yes, and that's also when the backdraft group deploys Berserker Fury, or Berserker Furo, I guess, depending on, maybe that's a translation thing.
Probably, I would imagine it's originally the Führer, and then they're like, no Hitler in our Canadian, so just Fury.
Don't say that about Berserk Fury. But yes, it is a new type of Zoid called what did they call it? It wasn't like an Omega Zoid. It was like a
Ultimate X Zoid.
Yes, which apparently has something to do with its Zoid core. And when they show it, the Zoid core does have like dinosaur bones in it, which we'll get into our own personal fan theories. But basically, face off against the Berserk Fury, and if I remember, there's some infighting in the backdraft group where this new Zoid is like stealing all the thunder of the guy who made the Elephander, if I remember correctly. And he's like,
Yeah, the guy.
Jabos. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, like he's kind of jealous that they're stealing all the elephant's glory, and then he's like, you know what? I'm out. I'll do my own thing from now on.
Yeah. And he's like, Jabos, I get in these Genosaurs and go kill that kid that's piloting the Berserk Fury. And they certainly try to, but they aren't able to. And it eventually.
Which
Go ahead.
we'll go. Go ahead.
I was going to say it eventually ends with, of course, the Berserk Fury and the Blitz team having to fight Genosaurs, by the way. These three of these. But
Which, by the way,
yeah,
we're just gonna go ahead and get into that now because
okay.
you brought up the three Genosaurs.
I did.
So in Chaotic Century, at the very end, at the very very end, Raven turns against the big bad and is like, "Screw you! I'm gonna go do my own thing." And then he brings up three Genosaur to fight Raven, and they fight, and then they eventually get beaten. And then in New Century, they have the three Genosaurs come back, and then I also said, "Hey, we found this weapon, with them, which is the Death Stinger tail." And they use that to shoot down the good judge satellites so that the backdraft crews can come in with their evil satellites and shoot on their evil judges. Which also coincides with the Berserk Fury was also found in a similar area. Which all of that combined with what happens in Chaotic Century kind of lends credence to the fact that the Berserk Fury might just be Zeke from Chaotic Century.
Right. That was we were like, is that Zeke? Like, is that Zeke grown up and lobotomized into into a Zoid? And I'm gonna be honest.
It has very similar color. It has a very similar roar, just kind of like pitched up, and the sound effects for the feet kind of sound the same, but again, pitched in a different direction.
Right. And to be fair, it is just, it's a not Tricer, T-Rex, which T-Rexes are common. But the final fight between the Berserk Fury and the Liger Zero, which, by the way, peak because the upgrade for Liger Zero in the final battle is to just take everything off.
Yeah.
Just to be Liger Zero without any armor plating on it, which love that.
It's so cool.
The final fight is in the desert on a ruin of a Zoid, and the Zoid ruin is the same model as the Ubersaurus from the end of Chaotic Century, with the big gun and the weird like base structure. Ultrasaurus, by the way, not Ubersaurus, but with the big gun
and a big like ship bridge on the other side.
Yes, it's the same model, which is different than the Ultrasaurus shown earlier in the series, which is run by the Zoid Battle Commission. They have one too, but it's different. It has guns on both sides. This is the one from Chaotic Century, and it's the same one that's at the end of New Century, and they fight on it.
It's got to be because in Chaotic Century, they shoot the big gun, and then they get attacked, and then the Zoid kind of like falls into the ground, so the gun's kind of like pointed up, and that's how they shoot it.
Yes.
And this one, they also never show it from like the waist down, so
because it's like buried in sand too. Listen,
like it.
I feel
it's
now technically I do want to point out here's the thing that goes against our fan theory. In the little booklets of story that comes with the model kit, it says that the Berserk Fury was ancient Zoid made by like the Empire or whatever. But like, they don't go into details about how it's made. Could just be Zeke.
But also, that's so open ended. You can easily tag that. You can easily take that and attach it to Van's dead. Let's just grab his organoid and make him a Zoid.
No, when Van dies of old age, Zeke went to go live on a farm upstate. Listen, I'm just saying. I there might be information that contradicts the fact that the Berserk Fury is Zeke, but I'm going to ignore that because it's significantly cooler if it is Zeke. And also, I feel like the creator of the show is hinted at that being the case because you do see this laser from the Death Stinger used to destroy the satellites, and there's so much like little details going back to Chaotic Century. I'm like, this is Zeke. It put it lobotomized Zeke. You can't tell me otherwise. But anyway, series ends, and the Blitz team they win. They win the tournament, and they get moved up to the next bracket, and that's kind of the end. That's just kind of the end of the show.
That's kind of it.
It's like 25 episodes versus the 67 of Chaotic Century, but
26 episodes.
26. But I do have to say there's still Monster of the Week for sure. Like they're still like, oh, here's a team, let's fight the team. But they usually show up in some capacity later. They especially usually show up at that the end.
Oh yeah, and like, despite the show only taking like a year off, the animation for the Zoids is like twice as good as Chaotic Century.
Yeah,
Like in Chaotic Century, there would be like every like 5 or 6 episodes, there would be like the weapons clip through or the shadows kind of look weird in this one. But like I think that happens maybe once in New Century and never again.
yeah. There's not a lot. There wasn't really a lot of clipping that I noticed. There was some shadow effect, but like that's just from the way that they did it. But yeah, overall, I do think it looked better. Even the 2D kind of looked better.
Oh yeah, the 2D looked a lot better.
I also really liked all the characters. Like every single character I kind of liked. Even like the side ones. Like even Harry Champ. He is kind of funny.
Harry grew on. By the comedy in this is like it's so much more funny than Chaotic Century.
Yeah.
Like
Like
there were a couple times where I was like, it's kind of funny.
like I really enjoyed Harry's like sister showing up. So like he's like, a nepo baby, like heir of like $1 billion fortune, and he uses it all to buy Zoids and lose. His sister shows up and is like, "Hey Harry, Dad wants you to run the Zoid plant or whatever they do," and he's like, "No, I want to keep losing." She's
And
like,
not only does she show up, she shows up in like a big trailer dragged by like
4D
5 or 6.
Bison, yeah,
Yeah, just being pulled by 5 or 6 of those.
yeah, and she's like, "All right," and she's like, "Why do you want to keep doing this?" She's like, "I want to prove my love to Lena," and she's like, whatever. I tell you what, we'll have another Zoid battle with them, and was it if you lose, you have to come back with me, but if you win, you get to stay.
Yeah,
Yeah, and she's like, if you lose, whatever. And he's like, but I don't. If I remember at the moment, he didn't have any Zoids. Oh, he lost them all to the backdraft group. Right.
yeah.
And he's like, well, I don't have any Zoids. She's like, whatever, we're rich. We'll just buy a bunch of monkeys, a bunch of Iron Kongs. And they go on like a big fight against the Blitz team using as much like money and arsenal as possible. And the sister is like actually getting into it. She's like, actually, this is like really fun. Harry, and they lose, of course they lose. And even though they lose, she's like, Harry, this was fun. Keep doing your thing. Keep being a jobber for them.
Harry, I can see that you're jobbing, but I can see that you're enjoying your hobby of jobbing. So keep at it.
Yeah. And also, like, even like the main group of people, like Professor Toros is like really funny. He's like a Zoid obsessed, but he also like builds model kits of Zoids in the show.
He does.
And there's like moments where he'll like break it and he'll be like, no. Like, I get it.
There'll
Real.
even be sometimes where he'll just be playing around with like 2 or 3 Zoid figures.
Yeah. And then there's Jamie, who we mentioned becomes schizophrenic because his dad was in an accident, in a flight accident. And so he's always a little too timid when it comes to flying, but he eventually breaks that by just developing a new personality that is also just a jobber. Like I don't think well, no, he does. The new personality does do some cool stuff, I guess.
He helps out like twice and then just goes back to being a background character.
Yeah, but
Everyone just kind of like shits on him.
I did find it funny because Professor Toros is explaining all like what's up with Jamie and why he's so timid when it comes to flying to both Lena and Bit. Like, yeah, his dad was in a crash. He's never been the same since, you know. And then it's like
Yeah.
later at the end of the episode, the dad shows up and like, wait, we thought he was dead, and he's like, well, I didn't say he died. I just said he was in an
He just had a
accident.
crash.
He was just in an accident. And you're like, oh, that's kind of funny. Lena's really funny too. Like, I just I appreciate the fact, even by the end of the show, she never really likes Harry Champ. You know, I felt that would be like kind of a cop out by like the end to be like, oh Harry, I love you, but she's always kind of just not interested.
The only thing she's interested in is the gun sniper.
Just ungodly amounts of ordnance and money, and even Brad, who's like the mercenary. You know, Brad's kind of there's not a lot going on with Brad, but like he's all right.
Brad's like, you know what? Just pay me enough money and I'll job as long as you need me to.
Pretty much. And I kind of appreciate that, you know, like Brad's always just been like, hey, I'm here for the paycheck. And like every once in a while he'll do something kind of nice, like stealing the Shadow Fox to keep fighting with them. But like it never feels like he's doing it purely out of the the warmness of his heart.
It's very much it's like Irvine, but like the dial goes towards money by like 2 notches.
Yeah. And like even the villains, like none of the villains were like annoying, really. Like you had like the evil scientist. I mean the guy who is in charge of the Elephander. And he's just like, I want the Elephander to be cool, you know?
Yeah.
And then you have
There
like
wasn't actually like any bad guys in this.
not
Beyond like
really.
beyond like the evil shadow DraftKings organization in the background, like not really that much evil going on. It's very low stakes.
Even then, they're not really evil. They're like, hey, we want to have more exciting matches. We'll pay you 10 times the amount of money, but if you lose, we take all your Zoids, you know?
Huh.
Like, it's not the most evil thing in the world. And even when you could even just be like, no, I don't want to do it. And then they just like shoot your Zoid. But like, I don't know. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, very low stakes, but it's just enjoyable. I don't know. This one I give like a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I would give this. I would, as much as I love Chaotic Century, and that was like my very first Zoids, and like got the special place in your heart. I would still say that New Century is a lot better than Chaotic Century,
It's significantly shorter too.
significantly.
Oh, it is kind of weird. I did say I was going to mention this in this one, last one, but it is kind of weird that like the metal tattoos of the people of Z don't really show up in this at all. It's all just normal like humans. It seems.
It hypothetically might show up for what was his name? Jack Sisko, maybe?
Maybe he does have like a line on his nose. It could just be a case of like, oh, this area has less people of Zoidian descent.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, really not much else to say.
It's very reminiscent of early 2000s sports anime.
There are a lot of voice actors in this that go on to do more Toonami stuff, though.
Oh yeah.
Is it Inuyasha? Is that the one that?
Uh main character voices Inuyasha. Let's see. Inuyasha, Hamtaro, Mega Man, Gundam Seed, Gundam Double O, My Little Pony. Like there's a lot of voice actors.
Scott McNeil is in this as the evil backdraft scientist guy, and his voice always, every time I hear it, I'm like, why does this guy sound so familiar? And it's because, as a Warhammer fan, he voiced like literally all of the Dawn of War 1 game. He's like everyone in Dawn of War 1.
Yeah, actually, it's not just the main character. It's the main character plus Nina plus like a couple other side characters are like half the cast of Inuyasha.
Yeah. This is like that peak, like, Toonami era of dubbing, you know?
This isn't the peak of it. This is like
The start of it.
this is Toonami climbing up that hill.
Yeah. I mean, the next thing we talk about will be. Will the next thing we talk about be peak? Because there's a lot of voice actors in the next thing we talk about, which is also a sports anime.
Yeah, I would say that is like the start of the plateau of Toonami.
Fair enough. Well, do you have any final things about Zoid's New Century?
I would say go watch it. You really should go watch it. It's really good watch. You could even watch it as like your side monitor thing. You don't even necessarily need to keep an eye on it to be entertained by it.
Yeah. Also, I think it's even a good place to start Zoids because one, it's short, low commitment. Two, it's pretty good, and three, I mean, it's robot lions fighting robot snakes. That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's either this or Chaotic Century you start with, and this one's a lot shorter and a lot better.
Yeah. Also, I did want to point out, I like the transformation sequence animation that's reused a ton more in this than in the Chaotic Century.
Yeah.
With the LIGO gets into the snail, and then all the parts are pulled off, and the new parts are put on, and then it goes up the like launch ramp and fires off, and then once it lands, the music kicks in.
Oh,
Kino.
see, that's what anime fans like complain about is like, you're reusing animation sequences, but like
If
if you
it's
get a
cool
really
though,
if you get a really good animation sequence, you can play that thing as many times as you want because it'll always look cool.
true. And also, it's got like the music sting. Ah, it's great. Cinema,
Absolute.
absolute cinema. And also, they may have lobotomized Z, which is a bummer. But
How a bummer.
cow a bummer, lobotomy.